Yeah, hi, Jeff. My name is Dr. Neil Coburn. I'm just launched the Academy of Mindful Psychology. I'm a clinical psychologist, very interested in integrating this. I really want to support what you said about sleep and nutrition. I mean, it's not just how you feel, it's how it affects your brain. So a few months ago, we had a plane crash here, a Korean airliner, and it was finally determined that it was something called mitigated speech. I don't know if you're familiar with this particular concept, but it's really interesting. You know, Malcolm Gladwell talked about it in one of his books. And mitigated speech is something that's so deeply ingrained in us, where we are so resistant to challenge people in authority that we'll actually allow the plane to crash rather than to say something. You know, so studies have been done for decades that show that most plane crashes, for example, happen when the captain is flying, not when the co-pilot, and the co-pilot just won't say anything. So it's so deeply ingrained that we're willing to actually give up our life. So I'm curious, in your particular position, what you've done in your community, in your environment that really supports the idea of being able to express yourself and come out and even talk to people who obviously are in a position of authority that can change your life if they don't like what you've said.
Yeah, it's a great question. You also touched on something really important, which is cultural differences and cultural differences between people and how that ultimately manifests itself with regard to some of the things that we've been talking about. Like certain cultures around the world are far more hierarchical than others.
Right.
And as a result, regardless of the kind of coaching you would provide one of those individuals who grew up in that culture, it's anathema to say to your superior that they're doing something that you think they can be doing differently.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, as Gladwell wrote about, it has led to dire consequences. Within an organization, I think it's really important that you establish values that go beyond managing compassionately, that support that kind of behavior. So one of the things we touched upon earlier was being open, honest, and constructive. And you can't manage compassionately. You can't be in a position to provide, say, your manager with that kind of feedback if your organization doesn't support that kind of interaction. And then you want to celebrate it when you see it, and you want to make sure everyone within the company sees it's okay. Not only is it okay, it's rewarded. Because that person that does such a great job managing in that way, compassionately or being open, honest, and constructive, look at how much additional responsibility they've been taking on. Look at their trajectory throughout the organization. Conversely, if there's a manager or superior within your organization who is behaving in a way where they are acting such that it's punitive when someone is providing them constructive feedback, that has to be dealt with. And you have to be sending signals throughout the organization. That behavior is not okay. And it's very challenging for people of really any persuasion or culture to be comfortable, I found, going to their manager and saying, I don't like the way you're treating me. They're so concerned with how the manager is going to respond and whether or not they'll fire them. And what I say every chance I get is that if you ever find any manager within our organization punishes you as a result of that or even threatens you with punishment, I want to know about it because we won't tolerate it. And it's not enough to say the words. You got to walk the walk. And then you start to create an environment, you create a foundation where this kind of the right behaviors really manifest themselves.